As we're headed towards training camp next week, opening up, we're seeking balance in the Force. And no, I ain't talking Star Wars, but I am talking about an equivalency, coming back down to earth, but also not lowering our standards. So we'll look at what the Eagles need to do to achieve that difficult but sought after equilibrium. What's up, it's your boy Cintron, coming back at you with another analysis video, and I kid you not, that's my real name. Eagles' health-focused training camp and preseason approach won't change much in 2024. Take that with a grain of salt because we do need to overhaul some things, but we don't need to overcorrect, as Nick Sirianni astutely pointed out. The Eagles have caused a stir locally with their short and light summer practices, which carries into the preseason. Don't expect that to change this year, so we'll see. During the Nick Sirianni era in Philadelphia, the Eagles have conducted one of the easiest training camps in the NFL in terms of the number and length of practices. And it's worked out for us. So, I mean, 2022, all the way to the Super Bowl trip, 2023, I don't think it was the practices that were holding us back. I think it was just coaching, lack of a good, solid, based fundamental plan in play, which led to a piss poor product on the field. They have also skewed heavily towards resting starters during the preseason games, and many starters didn't play during the preseason at all in 2023, which again, I don't disagree with because we had a veteran-laden team, and a lot of those guys don't need to be battling it out with the next late, great preseason hero to figure out that, hey, this guy knows his way around the football field. A major focus was to remain healthy for the start of the regular season, and so far during the Nick Sirianni era, mission accomplished. Hey, get these guys to the first, quarter healthy, and not dealing with, a bunch of nicks and bruises. No pun intended. The theoretical risk in taking it easy during training camp and the preseason is the team might not be in the best position to play at a high level when the real games come around. And we'll get to two games that pretty much lay that out for us, but I will give you some remedies during those games that we could, rely on. One we couldn't, but there was a small sliver of hope there. Whereas teams with tougher camps with more time on the practice field might be more prepared, but they might also be more injured. So, as much as I don't like the lackadaisical approach, I'd rather us be healthy and fight our way out of a funk than have to fight our way undermanned. Sirianni and the Eagles have avoided criticism more recently for their approach because of their early season results. Exactly, they were 3-0 in Week 1 games under Sirianni, and were the last remaining undefeated team in the NFL each of the last two seasons. So yeah, we went 5-0 this past season, and 5-1, and we rebounded. So which kind of like makes valid the point. And also we went 8-0 the 2022 season. Don't expect substantial changes even after a disastrous collapse to close the 2023 season. I think what's very important is that we don't overcorrect, like I said earlier. There's a danger of overcorrecting in my eyes. You have to adapt, you have to evolve. I don't knock on wood because I don't believe all that BS. But knock on wood, we're 3-0 to start the season in our first game, right? I put a lot of work into figuring out what it takes to win the first game. So we're up against the Packers, and I'm interested to see, what he thinks goes into that. Obviously on defense, stopping that, quadra of, quintuplets of receivers. Watson, Wicks, Reed. Those guys, they were all pretty good, and they're young, and they're coming into their own. And then on offense, attacking that new defense, safety, they're not quite ready yet. So testing that communication back there, and then making them deal with all of our weapons, and then throwing this new wholesale attack at them. We don't know how it's gonna look. He's Dak, Jalen is not, and Saquon, is better back than Zeke. So we don't know exactly what it's gonna look like, and we're counting on that element of surprise. So, I don't know how much to correct. The problem of what we stalled out last year, where we started out last year, has nothing to do with how training camp was, if that makes sense. So definitely, because training camp, the after effects were long over by that point in the season. You're in mid-season, it's a whole different beast than the beginning of the year. Now, do I think our practices, we're probably on the low end, in the extreme of time out on the field? they're teams on the high end extreme. So it's a team that practice hard, but no matter no matter how much they work they put in, they don't have the talent that we have, and we coasted too much on talent. That was a problem as well. Arrogance that came with that thought process. So checking those Eagles at the door and having a guy that that is doing that, because the culture went astray last season. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Now, I do think our practices were, okay, sorry, I should have said that. And I think that we need to come up to here. So, definitely, I would say finding a middle ground, Anakin. And, it's a delicate balance. It needs to be, there needs to be some ebbs and flows. There needs to be some tinkering, constant tinkering and evaluating yourself. That's what the bye week is for. We have it so early this year. So, be interested to see what, information we pull from that. But, to know yourself is to be leagues ahead of where the team can attack you, where they might look to think they can get over on you, where they might think that you're lax, you have weaknesses. You shore those up and lure them in with bait. You're cooking with gas. But I think we're closer to where we want to be than the high extreme team. So exactly, we want to be in the middle somewhere. In 2021, we did not start the season well. I think, to me, that was different circumstances. Yeah, definitely. We didn't have as much talent as we have now, and cohesion. In 2022 and 2023, we have, those excellent starts. So week one with the Patriots, we looked sluggish on offense. We only scored one touchdown, and that was on a 26. We started at the 26-yard line thanks to a turnover. I think it was a Darius Slay pick. Our run defense was one thing that worked out in this game, and it kept us in it. Kept the game tight. And they went on to be, I think, 4-13, so they weren't a good squad. It just, from the beginning. Hassan Reddick was struggling with getting pressure because he had a club on. It was just one thing after another, and we gave too much respect to a Patriots in attack. Look at the spacing. There's no reason that these receivers should be getting this much space, and. James Bradbury, I don't know if he looked cooked in this one, but definitely wasn't playing tight enough. And then in the second game, the Vikings, we ran it down their throats, and we just looked disjointed, but we didn't have a answer for the blitz. So this year, hopefully we won't be dealing with that. But Jay Jetter, we didn't play him like we did last year, and I think that was to the detriment, because Slade between last year, 2022 and and 2023. I don't think there was a great difference. It was just the way, in the way that we deployed him, so, we had 5 fumbles and the Vikings recovered none of those. So that's an awesome stroke of luck that will not repeat itself. You don't come out of a game and, like that. And you're not supposed to win. But they kept us out on ice, the way they were blitzing us with, I forget who their head coach is. It's not Todd Bowles. But yeah, the way he was attacking us, it was masterful. It was nice. But those kind of games, we will have an answer for the blitz this year, and the offense is going to look completely different. But that's on us. Play calling doomed us, in that game, and then in the Jets game as well. So injuries aside, the Eagles are employing a new pair of new coordinators this season in Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore. Fangio was clear that he wanted more time on the practice field during his introductory press conference. And he said, you got to make do with what you got, but I keep pushing for more time. So, it makes sense. When you need more time, this adjustment period, because we're going in with a new offense and new defense, even though it is a kind of retread of what we've been running lately, this is the master, not the apprentice. This is Star Wars, the movie series, not the acolyte. They're Star Wars, but that was in name only, and this one is the aficionado. So, Fangio was asked to follow up on whether he pushed for more practice time this offseason before accepting the defensive coordinator position. I'll let Nick answer that for you, he said, so leaving it up to him. But you gotta believe that he wants as much. We did have a mandatory mini camp this offseason, one that we had eschewed for the past 2. And, COVID year, I get that, but then, you go without it, and you didn't need it because we had such success, and then you kind of go for it. But you don't want this to be an overreaction, like I said earlier. So the beatdown that we suffered last year, or collapse, you don't want to say, oh, we're doing it just because. No, but just, we haven't done it, so why not do it? That just makes sense to me. And I think we got a lot from that mini camp. Just even getting a look at the rookies and letting them get a chance to acclimate to the NFL earlier in that kind of setting. And, I think it was just beyond the football, but meshing the football life into it, their lifestyle, getting, used to a schedule, and, things being different in the pros. They're not professionals. And, getting a look at a competition, how things work in that kind of environment, that kind of simulated environment. You can't really copy it elsewhere. They can't get that experience, that kind of visage elsewhere. So, but yeah, Kellen Moore offense is definitely complicated, different from what we've been using. And, the more time you can get into that, why wouldn't you steep yourself in it? So, will there be changes? Yeah, there are going to be changes, like what we do with our defense. Sirianni said there will be changes like what we do with ball security, things what we do with the offense. But we have to be careful not to overcorrect. So yeah, you don't want to, your answer be a reaction to reaction. So that's not genuine. That's disingenuous, because what is really on your heart? What do you want to say? What do you have to say? What is your answer that you came up with? It can't be just, oh, well, A because of B. So I like that. It has to be organic. We're kind of letting things, just happen instead of forcing them. And I think definitely the name of our game was trying to force things. Like, we're gonna line up like this, and we're gonna dictate to the offense and to the defense purely, without really inputting, taking that information and analyzing, and what are they doing? What can we do to be most effective? Instead of like, no, we're just gonna push our offense the way it is. Nah, that's not gonna, that's not the way things work. You don't assert yourself into the world. You kind of have to, hear what the world is saying and then adjust. And I'm not saying from a religious point of view, but anyways, as far as practices during the season, there have been more discussions on that. But one thing that we have, we get when we practice the way we practice, we get in high intensity, and because of that, we get more game-like reps. So I like that. When we have full pads on, the only difference between live and not live is no tackling to the ground. And I like that, because you don't want your guys beating up on one another. We already get that enough from week to week. The offensive line is live up front, so when those guys have pads on, those are full go practices, except for we're not tackling. So, and yeah, I don't want anybody taken to the ground. We don't need to prove anything to each other. And so guys aren't going to the ground, and we try to alleviate some injuries that way. And that's all he had to say on that matter. But yeah, we don't need wholesale change. We didn't need it. Just need some tinkering here or there. Look at the process, take a step back, and like he's saying, get a 30,000-foot view and analyze things. He's a CEO. You're kind of took off of offense, and you never were on defense to begin with. So manage things and purify the process, and put it through the blender and turn it into puree, and make that into something that we can package, resell, and add on to what we want week to week, because it's going to be a week to week thing, defense and offense. Vic Fangio loves to customize game plans, according to the opponent that week, and Kellen Moore is going to look to attack different things, different tendencies, different weak points, different habits that defenses have, and going after them. But anyways, you're not even watching though. We're going to get up out of here, but hey, I love talking about the Eagles, and I love making these videos about my stinking team, because, yeah, I've been riding with them forever. So we'll try to do this officially, but hey, as always, it's Fly Eagles Fly, and let's motherfucking go! Like, comment, share, subscribe if you want. Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.